So I'm going to talk a little bit about the narrative essay and think of an example of how you might approach the narrative essay. So as you can see, this is a screen full of quilts. These quilts are from the Smithsonian Institute in the quilt design or quilt collection, American quilts. And these are in chronological order, the oldest from 1750 to newer and newer. But just take a look at how interesting these early quilts are. They are very elegant. They used really nice materials. They did a lot of embroidery with them. And they really focused on a kind of artisanship or art. And here's like a wool quilt. But they had designs that corresponded to sort of the Jacobean designs, scrolling vines, flowers, and they cared for them as basically works of art, sort of like embroidery, etc. Here's one that has a patriotic design. It's how imaginative. Now, in this case, clearly there's not a lack of resources. The materials are uniform, they're high quality. Oh my goodness, look at this design from 1825, the Rising Sun quilt. And here's another patriotic one, the Great Seal. Great, great designs. But notice how we move along. And later they start to be more about objects that you might find that are more about thrift and economy and turning scraps into beauty and recycling. So you would get things from people's dresses. They would recycle them or pants. But I don't think that's at this point yet. I mean, check this out. How beautiful. Tulip applique and tiger quilt. Wonder why this is called a tiger quilt. Anyway, it's probably made in the mid-19th century, and it's from a Bromley Hall pattern book. So it has two boys riding leopards, architectural ruins, dancing shepherdess, very romantic, very in its ethos and its design and aesthetic. And then we go further and further. I'm hoping to find a Lakota star quilt. That would be really beautiful, because the Lakota star quilts tell a story of how the design corresponds to a place, a star, in where the community of origin it corresponds to. And I'm not going to go into that very much because I don't know much about it, but I want to. And so the star quilts are not just decorative and they're not just useful. They're also great signs of honor, and they kind of take the place of the buffalo robes of great honor, and they're given at ceremonial times, and they're just amazing. Show their demonstration of respect. So interesting. But I think that each star quilt would tell a story. Each one of these quilts would tell its own story. This one came from an African American family, and so there's not much known, but it was made in like 1839, and look at the quality and the beautiful applique flowers, leaves, vines, and they're embellished with braid and embroidery. What a work of art. It must have taken months. But at any rate, I'd like to encourage you to potentially think about choosing a few quilts and telling the story of the quilt. I think that would be interesting.